This is partners in the process, 'cause we're built better together.
All right, so welcome back to Partners in the Process. It's been a minute since we've shot a podcast, a full podcast, and we wanted to come back to you guys and start bringing this Partners in the Process back to you guys. So sorry for the delay. Life and business, as it goes, takes a turn sometimes, and you have some other things you have to attend to. And so we had some other divisions and some other companies and things that we were working on, and so and some partnerships, and actually we'll talk a little bit more about that as time goes on the podcast, and we'll have some guests on that'll help explain some of that stuff a little bit better too. But today, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that we cherish, that we hold dear, something that we work with people on. A question that comes up quite a bit with us as it pertains to coaching is, what is it exactly that you guys do? Like, it's such a common question people like to ask about anything in general, but if they've come across your content, if they've seen you, if they see what you're doing, they ask, like, what are you guys up to? What are you doing? Okay, so let me be very honest. We offer services, okay? We offer several services, but one of the things that we really are passionate about, that we love doing, is coaching people. We coach couplepreneurs. We coach people in business. We just celebrated our 17-year anniversary married. We've been together almost over 23 years since we were teenagers. We've started 6 companies. We currently manage and run 3 of them on a day-to-day basis, and we understand all of the strains and hardships and everything that comes with trying to have a quality relationship and run your business.
And have children.
And have a family.
Yes.
And have time for yourself.
Yep.
And so something that we developed, that we worked on early on, that we understood was very important, was not just our relationship, but the relationships in our life in general, which is why we're so passionate about relationships as it pertains to you and everybody else around you, including yourself in your life, okay? So a lot of people think that we do like just marriage counseling or something. We're not counselors, okay? So I don't do counseling. But what I do is I help you understand the path that we know to be true, that is backed by studies, even so I can attest to that. But what we know to be true, that's worked for us, it's worked for many of other people, and it's worked with people that we've worked with, people that we admire, people that we followed as we were developing ourselves, different ideologies, different methodologies, things that we adopted into our own repertoire that we use. And it's been very helpful to us. Yeah. It's been very therapeutic. It's been very like opened our mindset to a whole other idea out there, that you're not just cruising through life with this person, right? And like I said, it's not just about her and I.
And people tend to come to you when they are in a challenging situation or things maybe not be going right. But we definitely also work with couples who are doing everything right, just to help kind of keep on track also.
Yeah, it's really common,
very important
to want to seek help when you're in trouble. We call it the suck. When people are in the pain and they're in the suck, that's when they seek help. But if you're proactive about seeking that before it becomes a problem, you can just invert it altogether and start down a path of prosperity and of success without having to get in a hole first and dig yourself out. Yeah. And I understand that this just happens. It was trial by fire for us for many, many years. I mean, the reason we understood what we developed and that we know it to be true, and we've replicated it over and over again, is because we did fail and we did do things wrong sometimes, and we did do business deals wrong, or partnerships, or maybe the way that we
came
decided
about
to invest,
each other.
or became I mean, we did a lot,
like came at each other, like fighting and arguing and stuff like that.
So that would be like conflict resolution.
Yeah.
You know, that was something that we had to develop. I was like, I didn't understand where you were coming at first.
Not all just in business transactions, but in relationships also, or how we would talk with different employees, or how we would help them, fight through different things that were going on in the business and stuff like that. So it's really on a variety of levels that we work with people and couples and businesses.
Yeah. It's just for us, we understand that life is a little bit different for people who are in business. It's not to say that I can't work with people that aren't doing business. I just
Absolutely.
understand that what they're going through, and specifically what they're going through, the challenges that they deal with in their head. I work a lot with just the men.
Right.
When we deal with couples together, I will branch off and work privately with men, as she will with women. What we struggle with, what we go through, the pains that we feel, we internalize and battle a lot of times just ourselves. Society tells us that we're supposed to just kind of suck it up. We're supposed to deal with it. We're supposed to kind of hold it down, bottle it up a little bit, and just deal with it. Work through it, push it off. But working through it by pushing it off or sweeping it under the rug is not dealing with it. If there's other people and resources out there that exist that can help you not only work through those issues, but actually figure out A, where they're coming from so we don't replicate it, and B, if there is a light there, which there typically is, how can we excavate that and use it for good? Like, how can we utilize that in a positive light so that we can either learn from it or that we can develop that feeling into something positive, from the negative to the positive? Because for every downside, there's an upside. That's just the way life works. That's why they talk about silver linings. There's always a silver lining to something, because we can't find out why this bad thing that seems to be so ominous to us has a good side to it, but probably somewhere there is. There's always a lining somewhere. It's focusing on that lining. So anyway, for men, we find it very difficult. So I've gotten big into looking into like retreats and different things like that, because I feel like that camaraderie of like-minded men. There's a book I read, was actually, it was proposed to me by a friend of mine. It's called Tribe of Millionaires. It is a wonderful book that really outlines how important it is to surround yourself with like-minded people, but it's specifically as it comes to men, because this book is about a tribe of guys. It's these like-minded men who are an alpha in their own right, but they all have a different, like they bring a different level to a different aspect to the group. But as a whole, they go through these different challenges, and each one of them bring their perspective into that challenge for a greater good. What's so awesome about it is we're not on this planet fighting by ourselves. There are other people out here that are doing things just like you're doing or trying to, and they're looking and seeking other people to do it with. And they're looking for people who think like they do, who've been through the things they've been through, or might understand what they're dealing with. We do. Like, I understand what you're dealing with.
And it's finding your strengths in different people also. So when you are talking with us, and we keep everything confidential and stuff like that, but when you're talking with us, we do have a different perspective on looking at it, because we have done it and been there, and we enjoy helping people get through some of these problems before it gets to be hard or really detrimental.
Yeah, I mean, there was a point in my life where I wished there would have been somebody there that was who
understood.
who understood what I was going through. Lucky for me, I had you.
Yeah.
But even with that being said, there's perspectives.
We see it differently.
That are going to be a little bit different. And so being around like-minded men or being around like-minded women is empowering in a different way than being around
And to
your
tell
partner
you
all
that
the
your
time.
feelings, like as you're going through business and building these things, that it's okay to feel this way.
The
That this
validation.
is the way that you're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
But also helping you to get through it and make it to the other side in one piece, and really thriving.
So that's part of something that I wanted to talk about today in this podcast. And so we operate off a set of core principles. When we talk to people and we teach them, there is a set of basement level core principles that we branch off of those. There's many pieces of each one of those, but those are in relationships. This is all relationships. This is why relationships are so important. And you'll understand what I'm saying here. You've got trust, you've got respect, you've got appreciation, communication, and then you have your faith, and you have inconveniences. Those are the core principles that we talk about. The reason that those are so specific. Now, let me talk to you about two of those. One of them, and specifically, faith can be in anybody's life, should be in everybody's life. But it's very important when it comes to business, in our opinion, because in our life, it's not that we've ever asked for anything, but we do pray for opportunities. And I can tell you unequivocally, anytime I have prayed for clarity for a situation or opportunity, it has came. Anytime I've ever prayed on it, we do shared prayers. You and I will pray together. We pray with our kids. Faith is a very important part of our marriage. It's a very important part of our life. And
It's a foundation.
It's a foundation. It's a moral guideline. And it's, I mean, gosh, we got to be governed by something, guys. Like, it's not just the Wild West out here. You got to have some set of principles that you live by. It's character. What are you all about, right? But inconvenience. The reason that one is very, very important for us in business is because business is inconvenient. It is not all kittens and rainbows, okay?
Even when you're doing well.
Yes. Oh, gosh, even when you're doing well. I mean,
Yes.
you're making money and everything's going perfect. There are still inconveniences,
Yes.
okay? It may seem less at time than others, but every level that you hit is just a new level of inconveniences. So the idea of how do you show up or what do you do or how do you react in those inconveniences are what is so important to focus on. How do you show up when life is hard? How do you show up for each other when life is hard? When your business starts to struggle, when finances start to get a little bit tight, when an opportunity either shows itself to you and it may seem like the wrong time, or what if an opportunity that you thought was really good starts to veer and not seem so well? Like when the inconvenience of life shows up, how do you show up for that? That's really important. Okay. So we teach that as a basis in our programs and when we work with people individually, because we believe that leveraging how you show up in those inconveniences will really start to dictate and shine a light on who you are as an individual and who you are within your partnerships and your relationships and who you are for yourself. Okay, one of the biggest relationships that people tend to kind of overlook is your relationship with yourself. You know, you can have a relationship with God and a relationship with your wife or a relationship with your husband, relationship with your kids, relationship with your employees, your friends, you know. Hell, you can have a relationship with the convenience store clerk down the road. But what does your relationship look like for yourself? How do you treat yourself? How do you take care of yourself? Do you pour into yourself? Do you give yourself some time to decompress? You know, business is tough. Sometimes you need a minute. And people are like, I just need a minute. Like, sometimes you need some decompress. What do you do to decompress? Do you have hobbies? You know what I mean? How do you take care of yourself? How do you feed yourself? Do you exercise? You know, do you smoke? Do you have a bunch of bad habits? Do you drink a lot? You know what I mean? What are you doing to your body? A lot of people use those things for coping mechanisms because they're masking a problem instead of working on the problem.
And it's easier to say, I don't have time for that. That doesn't apply to me because I'm too busy. I'm too busy with the kids. I'm too busy with my job that I don't have time to focus on myself. Because I think that's an easy way then to not go to the gym, to not eat healthy.
Because
those kind of things.
Because you do make time for the things that you deem important in your life.
Right.
Right? Because the other things that you're doing to forego the things you should be doing or what you deem is important is what you deem as important right now. So if you just switch your mindset to these things that are better for you being important,
yes,
you'd forego the other things.
And a lot of times it is just practice. It's just putting those things into practice, because once you put them into practice and you start doing it on a regular basis, and this applies to a lot of different things that we talk about, it just becomes second nature.
It has to. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
So the mindset shift here is it's an atomic habit change, like I spoke to you about earlier. So it's these incremental changes that you make in your life consistently over and over and over again that reprograms your mind. It reprograms the way that you operate. If you do those, the days turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years. It just happens, okay? I read a quote the other day. I can't remember who I heard say it, but it's really profound. You get better the same way you got worse.
Yeah, because I was going to say,
one day at a time.
Just with the good habits, the same happens with the bad.
Yeah.
Easily.
So I'm saying you get better the same way you got worse.
Yeah.
So like sick people, you get better the same way you got sick. You know, you didn't develop a drinking habit overnight. That was over time. You know what I mean? You didn't put the weight on overnight. That was over time. You know, you didn't develop these unhealthy addictions to Netflix all night long, or not sleeping, or caffeine, or soda, or you know, some people have porn addictions, or they have addictions to what's that funny? That's real.
I know, but we
Yeah.
like soda to porn. It's just
Well, not much of a gap there. Up here, it's the same type of thing that's causing the addiction.
Right.
I've heard it's an ADHD response to a stimulus, but I'm not going to go down that route.
no.
Anyway, but nevertheless,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is the same way that you develop those bad habits, you develop good habits. Okay. And so it's incrementally, it's not overnight. So delayed gratification is a very important thing to develop. How do you develop delayed gratification?
Yeah.
How do you develop delayed gratification?
It's just over time. You have to take the time. You have to give yourself the time, but you have to do it slowly in the beginning, I think.
So what's the catalyst?
Wanting it, wanting to do it, wanting to change.
So people won't move until the pain of staying the same is greater than the fear of moving. So you have to create urgency. There has to be something that causes you to want to move.
Sure.
Otherwise, you just stay where you're at because the pain's not quite great enough yet.
Well,
For me, the pain of finally being 300 pounds
Yeah.
just overwhelmingly outweighed the pain I was going to have to go through, or the fear. It wasn't really fear, it was pain of the time it was going to take and the discipline it was going to take, not eating all the crap and having to go to the gym every day. And I knew it was going to be years. Like I knew it took me 10, 15 years to put on that weight, that it was going to take me a minimum of 3 to probably get it off. And I'm like, 3 years? Do I got 3 years worth of time? But the pain of being that person was just greater than the change anymore. And I had to
it's
move.
like with people going to the doctor. You know what I mean? Everything's fine until you tell me, I'm pre-diabetic. Well, now I'm going to make all kinds of changes. I didn't do it in the beginning, but now that there's a problem.
How many people want to decide to quit to smoking? How many people want to quit smoking when they find out they have lung cancer?
Right.
You have lung cancer already. They've been telling you for years you could get lung cancer if you keep smoking. You get it. My grandfather had developed lung cancer. And so the doctor told him, and he was, mind you, he was in his 80s. The doctor told him that he should quit smoking. And he's like, oh, yeah, I got to. And he did for about a week. And he was really cranky. And I said, Grandpa, I got to be honest with you. You're in your 80s. This is like the 5th cancer you've been diagnosed with. Your quality of life is not going to get any better by not smoking. And he's like, no. Do you got to smoke 3 packs a day? No. But you don't have to quit smoking. So the incremental change, the atomic change there with any of those habits is the cold turkey method. If you're disciplined enough,
It's hard to sustain, though.
Yes. If you're some sort of a person that's already got that thing in you that ticks where you can just shut it off and on, like when you commit, you commit. Those people do exist. I was not one of them. I had to develop that. But I do know people that are like, when they've turned that switch, they flip that switch and they can shut it off.
Yeah.
Then you can cold turkey. Otherwise, it's incremental. Like I said, instead of 3 packs, let's go down to 1 pack. Instead of 1 pack, let's go down to like 3 cigarettes, okay? A soda. Instead of 3, 4, 5 sodas a day, let's cut it back to 1 or 2. And let's slowly pull ourselves off. Eating food. Quit eating after, 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, okay? Instead of eating all that junk and pizza and sugar, let's cut back on some of the sugar. Let's add in some vegetables and some protein. Let's add in some chicken. Let's add in some steak. Let's add in some jasmine rice. Like let's put in some, if we're having 6 meals a day, let's scale that back to 3 meals a day. And let's make 2 of those meals like a good meal. And one of them could be some crap. Let's make the crap earlier on in the day. Let's not make it so late. Okay. So we have time to work on that. And then, okay, the gym scares people. Okay. The reason I'm such a proponent for the gym is the mental aspect of it. The physical aspect is a byproduct of what the gym develops, but the gym really develops your mindset. It develops consistency, delayed gratification, discipline. It's all these things that you have to make yourself do that create these new habits. The byproduct, obviously, like I said, is you get fit, but some people don't. Some people just go to the gym and hammer the treadmill for an hour every day. But they go to the gym every single day and they slowly lose weight. They feel better. Their cardio's better. They can breathe better. They see those aspects. Their circulation's better. So like I've talked to people who had issues with swelling and stuff because they had poor circulation. They sat a lot. Okay, once they got up and they started moving more regularly, their circulation got better and they quit having swelling as much.
Sure.
They also made some diet changes and stuff, but nevertheless, cardiovascular training just is that. It is training for your cardiovascular system. A lot of people think that's the end all be all to losing weight, is I got to get on the treadmill and hammer it. It's not. All you're doing is training your cardiovascular system, opening your veins and your blood flow so that you can get blood to everywhere in your body, so that when you do start exercising and tearing down muscle and doing stuff like that, it can properly build back, and it builds back better because it's got proper blood flow. It's also better for your lungs, and it's better for your brain function and everything. So your heart is a muscle. It's pumping. You know what I mean? When you get it pumping and you get it moving, you're exercising your heart. You're making it strong so that it can push that blood all the way to all the way to the tip of your toes, to the tip of your fingers, to your brain, everywhere. So anyway, went on a tangent there, but what I'm getting at is the incremental changes and why that's so important.
Right.
So when life just sucks, and it goes through stages.
And it's moments.
Moments.
It should
Goes through
not
moments.
be days.
It should be moments. You shouldn't
No.
allow days. But like I said, the challenges, okay? So these challenging times, this inconvenience in business, it creates your character. It really does. It battle hardens your character down to, like, who are you,
Is this
right?
going to light you up? Are you going to be able to do slow and steady when somebody calls because there's a problem? You know what I mean? What's your knee-jerk reaction going to be? All that's interesting to definitely see in people.
Because we talk about the events, plus the reaction equals your outcomes.
When you own the business and stuff like that, because your employees and stuff definitely feed off your energy when it comes to that.
Now, I understand nobody's going to be perfect.
Right.
We're going to have moments. Things are going to happen.
Yes.
We have
but
slips.
I mean, sometimes too, can you vent like to your partner or even in a room by yourself for a couple minutes before you bring that to the employees? You still don't want to bring that all the way down to the employees and let them see your frustration.
So that brings up a great point about relationships and partnerships and relationships with your spouse. You know, in my business, in couplepreneurship, her and I are in business together, but sometimes it's partnerships where it's two people that were friends or strangers that got into business together. How is your relationship with each other? Right. Do you have that? Like, is that other person, someone's like, hey, when you're having these times, you can come lean on me. Come talk to me, come confide in me. We'll figure this out together. Are you that for each other? Or is it just like you do your job and I'll do mine and I don't want to hear about your BS? Right. Go cry to your wife about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? That relationship building is really important for those reasons, because when it is tough, that event happening and our reaction is going to dictate that outcome, like we've talked about. So getting that middle part of that equation is the event happened. The reaction is the important part. How do I react to it? How much time do I wait till I react to it? When that event happens with that employee, do I have a knee-jerk reaction, or do I think about it? Right. Do I process it? Right. Do I look at all aspects of that?
And a lot of times we do call each other first.
Have to.
And we vent a little bit. We discuss what we can do next, and then we go from there. It just makes the situation a little better. But lucky for us, we have each other to lean on.
Now,
you know, sometimes we'll even say, I just need to vent for a minute. I just need you to listen.
Yeah. And
then we can come up with a resolution, but I need to get this off my chest.
How many times for us, or have we heard from other people where, like, you know, and I'm guilty of this. So there's things going on in the business. Could be multiple things going on. Yeah. So I'm distracted. Okay. Kids got a baseball game. They got dance practice. They've got school events coming up, and we're trying to talk about that, and I'm distracted. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so then I start to get frustrated. Or they've gotten frustrated. The people we've talked to, this has happened as well. They get frustrated. And so then they just blow up.
Yeah.
Okay?
Or shut down.
Or they shut down.
Yeah.
But usually they blow up and the other person shuts down.
Yeah.
Okay? So obviously we're starting to transition into communication, and I'm not going to get into that today. But that event that was going on at work created that reaction, which is the outcome now that you've just created a block between the two of you. Not only that, but if your kids, you're not there for your kids either.
Right.
Okay, because the whole reason
they're not feeling important, because they're the ones that ended up with the brunt of the frustration, even though it's not their fault.
Oh,
like if you blew up.
And let me get something straight here. I get tired of hearing people say that I do it for her, and I do it for my kids, and I do it for. No, you don't. You do it for you.
You should.
You should. Okay. Do they get to benefit from it? Absolutely. I mean, that is a point. Don't get me wrong. But it is not your focus. If it was your focus, that event right there happening and them being just pushed off like, I just don't have time for it. I've got to, that would have, you didn't do it for them. Okay? You're doing it for you. Otherwise, you would have put that away and you would have focused on them. I would have put that away and I would have focused on you. I would give you the attention because, well, I'm doing this for you anyway, right? So if I'm doing it for you, then I hold you up here and this is down here. So I need to put this away and I need to take care of you. So stop with all that. get your understanding of why you're in this straight. We do it for ourselves. We do it for a legacy. We do it for a better life. We do it for whatever it is. But don't act like you're doing it for somebody else. You're not doing it for your kids. You're not doing it for your family.
You're not going to get the right outcome if you're always doing it for somebody else.
So your purpose is important.
Right.
What is your purpose? We need to get real crystal clear on what your purpose is for why you're in business. But
then that also then brings in like shared vision and stuff like that. That's another
so
topic.
many different things we can talk about. So, but I just wanted to touch very specifically in this episode about showing up for the inconveniences and how you show up during the inconveniences, because these events will happen and those reactions are important and those outcomes are detrimental. Okay, they're building blocks or they're cuts. It's however, okay, it's to her, it's to the employees, it's to your partners, it's to your clients. Okay, if I keep failing my clients over and over and over again because I keep reacting incorrectly or I'm not handling those situations correctly, what do you think is going to happen? How long do you think you're going to keep those clients? That business is going to start to take a landslide because you're going to start dropping clients. How consistent are you? So Atomic Changes, they talk about in couplepreneurship, the reason that we think that it's built better together is because you can't be in business, one of you or both of you, but in particularly one of you and the other one not just as a byproduct, be a part of that business. When we took vows with each other, that was a commitment I made to you. When we got in business and we both decided to do this and you told me that you were going to be with me forever, if you're okay with me starting this, we talked about that, the shared visions and stuff, then you committed to this just the same. So it's not like, hey, Bobby, this is just your problem. This is our problem.
I know just as much as going on in your business as you do.
You have to and you should. Okay. Now that doesn't always mean that you're like on the front lines dealing with that, but you understand what's going on. Right. And if I need a sounding board or I need somebody to run through or talk to, like you're always there. And you're
sometimes you don't even have to ask.
Those are the best ones. Yeah. Those are the best opinions because those are usually the ones I'm not ready for, but they're the ones I needed to hear. See, she's brutally honest with me. And that's something a lot of people are not. I understand that what she tells me, I need to hear when I need to hear it. She understands
it's for the best for us. It's for the best for the business. It's for the best for our employees.
And it's what I need to hear.
And it's what we need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
People are too busy trying to pacify and satisfy other people instead of just being honest with you. Now, there's a difference between being mean and being honest.
Absolutely.
I don't have to be ignorant, but this is something I understand from her. This is something you should get right with your spouse too. If you guys love each other and you understand unequivocally that she loves you and you love her and that you would never do anything to hurt the other one, when they are giving you information and they're delivering it in a correct way and it comes across as hurtful or like attacking, if you know that they love you and they wouldn't do that, you stop and question that. Why do I feel that way? Because they wouldn't do that to me, which means I perceived that message incorrectly and I need to see what the real value of that message actually was. So take, for instance, let me give you an example. I one time, I lent money to an employee. This was something that I had to learn the hard way, more than once, mind you. But I like to help people. They needed a hand. I gave them money. They kept asking for money. I kept giving them money. Now, they would give the money back, but that's besides the point. They became more and more comfortable with asking for more and more money. Now, in the beginning, I might have said something to Shelly, and then it got to the point where I didn't think much of it because every time I talked to her, she didn't care. So I'd give him that money. So one time she came to me and she's like, you have to stop doing that. Because I was like, hey, he borrowed this money from me. It's been like 2 weeks and he hasn't given it back. Usually he gives it back. And she's like, you got to quit doing that. And I was like, why? And she's like, because you just get taken advantage of. And I was like, that's the way God made me. That's who I am. And I do believe that. But that's not what she was saying. She wasn't saying don't be a kind person. She wasn't saying stop helping people. She was saying stop letting yourself be taken advantage of. Like, no is okay. It's a perfectly acceptable answer when somebody's taking advantage of you. Okay. But the way she came to me and she said it, I took it like she doesn't like this caring, giving person that I am. That's not what she was saying. She was saying, I don't like to see you being taken advantage of. But I felt like she was attacking my integrity. Like, I'm a beautiful person. I'm a nice person. I'm helping this person out. And you're saying that that's a bad thing?
It's not what I'm saying. But in the same instance, when you're a boss and you're the employer, it starts to, we then kind of get somewhat
the
on that
lines.
friend level, and we kind of blur the lines.
See, that was something that I was completely overseeing. I shot right over the top of the fact that the imagery of doing that consistently was diminishing our roles within that company and how they saw me.
When you're, when we worked at Walmart and stuff like that, you could ask for a pay advance. It's coming from Walmart. It's not coming from the manager of Walmart.
Correct.
So it's kind of blurring those lines and making people think then that it's okay. And then they can talk to you a different way. They can ask for different things. They can, tell you what they are or aren't going to do kind of in an unprofessional manner because they think now we're friends. And it just blurs the lines. And I like to keep it more black and white.
Yeah. There was another
because I'm a mean person. It's just because professionally, that's just what I think you should do personally and for us and for our businesses.
Now, the funny part is she's a very giving person. And she does help people out quite often herself. But she does it in a way that is appropriate for the situation. So for me, I more treated everything as like a friend level thing. But as you get bigger in business, you have to understand that you can't always operate that way with certain people in your life. That's not something that you can do with them. There was another situation, I'll put the shoe on the other foot, where I had a client that was not meeting the expectations that I had set. At the time, it was a very large client of mine, and it was a substantial portion of our revenue. I went to them and explained to them nicely that they needed to fulfill their obligations because I was fulfilling mine. When they kindly told me that they would do whatever they would like to do, that this is how they treat all their vendors, I told them that I was no longer going to do business with them, and that they either fulfilled their obligation to our agreement or I was going to unload all their product and not do business with them anymore. What I understood is I was part of a money-making process for them, and I understood that the service that I gave them and the value that I gave them was great for what I was charging them, and we had set this expectation, and I fulfilled my expectation, and they weren't fulfilling theirs, and not only were they not doing that, they were then treating me as if I were insignificant compared to them because I was the smaller guy. I went back to Shelly and I talked to her about that, and she immediately was upset because she's like, that's a lot of money. We're going to lose a lot of money. Like, hey, I don't think you, and I said, here's the deal. If I start allowing anybody to treat us like this when we don't treat them that way, this will be something that haunts us forever. We will always allow this in our life, and we can't. I cannot get so invested in people that I can't afford to be able to have that leverage later. So I have to set that precedent now. Not only do I set the precedent for them, if they happen to speak to anybody else about that as a reference or whatever, they understand that we're not going to do things that way. Like, this is the expectation we set. This is what I'm going to give you, and I just expect you to do what you said in return. And you're not going to throw your weight around. Like,
it's keeping your standards the same in all situations.
Keep your standards. Okay. I held mine for them. They need to hold theirs to me. And so that's very important as well. But she's like, you would just, like, your ego's in the way almost. And I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with my ego. But at first, she kind of thought it was like that. Like, I was kind of getting big for myself. And at that time, surely I was not. It was me, one single truck, and it was like 80% of my revenue was this one client. Okay. And I think they understood that, but that's not the point. The point was I had set a standard that I was building this company off of, and I did what I said I was going to do. Like,
but then in taking
to the detriment of my health,
you actually won. So it did work out.
I had a check before I left that day. They fulfilled their obligation, and I continued to do business with them for multiple more years, and ended up handing it to a good friend of mine. That business, when we moved on to other business, I handed that to another friend of mine. So, and from what I understood, he still does business with them. So that was many years ago. But nevertheless, that was an inconvenience in business.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they're all the time.
Yeah.
They're
and
all the
how did
time.
I show up
How
for
do you
myself
show up
there?
for
You know?
yourself, for your employees.
Tragedy happens.
Yeah.
You know, there's lost accounts, you know, big accounts like that. What if I would have lost that account? What would you have done? Well, my outlook was it was going to be very tough for me financially, but I was looking for a client when I found them. And if they don't appreciate what I was giving them, the next guy, I'll find somebody else that will.
Right.
Because I knew the value that I was bringing. How you show up when life is inconvenient, because it always is, especially in business, how you show up for each other, how you show up for yourself. Like, that was a standard I set for myself and my company. That was how I decided I was showing up on that. That was period. I wasn't rolling over because I needed it, because I did. I was holding that standard, and in that inconvenience, I needed to make sure that I showed up correctly.
Sure.
those times are who forge who you really are. That's what builds your character. That's who really shows you what you're made of, what you're built of. Like there's sometimes things are just, like they say it never rains, it pours. When it is pouring, how are you handling all that?
But that's what you remember too. Those are the lessons that you remember, or should remember.
I was going to say, but did you?
Put in to place whatever you decided to do to.
I had a phone call yesterday with a coach of mine, and after I told him what had happened, before I explained to him what I was doing about it, his very first thing he said was, "What did you learn? Did you learn something from it?" Absolutely, I learned something, because that's the way I look at things now. When things go sideways, I get through it, and once I get through it, I'm like, what is the lesson here? There's got to be a lesson.
Right.
Because if there isn't a lesson, there's always a lesson, mind you. But for me, if in my head I'm going, there isn't a lesson, then I'm missing something, because there's absolutely a lesson. Yeah. You should be learning from all those things, good or bad. There are times when you replicate a process and it goes well, or you do something, it goes well, you replicate that process, it goes well again. There's a lesson there as well. Mm-hmm. How do I continue to replicate this model so that I keep getting this desired result, because it kept happening twice. Maybe it was just by chance. 3 times, you're doing something correct. Okay. That's how businesses are made. They find that, they replicate it, and then they make it better. Yep. After you make it better, then you replicate it. So how you show up for yourself, how you show up for your spouse, how you show up for your business and your inconveniences is very, very important.
This is